Hello, and welcome back to Daily English Whisper. I'm Max, and I'm very happy you are here with me today. Take a slow breath, relax your shoulders. This is your English time. Today, we are going to practice something very important, something practical, something you can use in real life. Today's episode is about easy conversation English for everyday speaking. Maybe you understand English when you read. Maybe you know vocabulary. Maybe you can understand videos. But when it is time to speak, your mind becomes quiet. Or maybe too noisy. You think, what do I say? Why do I forget simple words? Why can I understand more than I can speak? If that sounds like you are in the right place. And let me tell you something important right now. This is normal, very normal. Many learners think speaking English means speaking fast. That is not true. Many learners think good English means perfect grammar every time. That is also not true. Real conversation is not perfect. Real conversation is human. People pause. People repeat. People forget words. People change sentences in the middle. Even native speakers do this. So today, I want to help you feel calmer about speaking, because this episode is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming comfortable, little by little. Conversation is not a performance. It is a connection. That idea can change everything. Maybe you do not live in an English-speaking country. Maybe your daily life is busy. Maybe you work long hours. Maybe you study. Maybe you take care of your family. Maybe you feel shy. Maybe you are afraid people will laugh if you make mistakes. Maybe you say, I'll speak when I'm better. But here is a gentle truth. You become better by speaking, not before. And today we will make speaking feel easier, not stressful. Not heavy, just easier. Our big idea today is simple. Small conversation habits create confident speakers, not giant effort, not 6 hours every day, not magic, just small, smart practice. Again, small conversation habits create confident speakers. And by the end of this episode, you will have practical conversation phrases, simple speaking habits, and a calmer English voice inside your mind. And yes, we will practice together, slowly, step by step. You are not alone. I'm here with you. Let's begin. Let me ask you something. What makes conversation difficult? Is it vocabulary? Sometimes. Grammar? Sometimes. But often, the real problem is speed. Conversation moves quickly. Your brain hears English, then translates, then checks grammar, then searches for words, then panic arrives, and the moment is gone. So what helps? A very simple technique, a powerful one, shadowing. Maybe you have heard this word before, maybe not. No problem. Shadowing means listening and speaking almost at the same time. Like following a shadow. You hear English, then you repeat. Not after 10 minutes. Not tomorrow. Right now, this helps your mouth move faster. It helps your ears get used to natural rhythm. It helps your brain stop overthinking. Because conversation is not only knowledge, it is movement. Speaking is physical. Your mouth needs practice too. So let's do a very small practice together. No pressure. You do not need to understand every word perfectly. Just listen. Then repeat. Ready? I say, excuse me, is this seat free? Now repeat after me. Excuse me, is this seat free? Good. Again, a little smoother. Excuse me, is this seat free? Nice. Next. I think I've seen this movie before. Repeat. I think I've seen this movie before. Very good. Again. I think I've seen this movie before. Next. Sorry, my mind went blank for a second. Repeat. Sorry, my mind went blank for a second. Excellent. That sentence is useful, by the way. Very real. Because sometimes your mind does go blank, and that is okay. Let's continue. That's interesting. Tell me more. Repeat. That's interesting. Tell me more. Again. That's interesting. Tell me more. Perfect. See? This is how conversation practice can feel. Small, safe, manageable. You do not need to catch every detail. Even if you miss words, your ears are learning. Even if your pronunciation feels strange, your mouth is learning. Even if you feel slow, your confidence is growing. Think of shadowing like daily stretching. One day feels small. Many days change your body. Same with English. One short practice may feel tiny, but daily repetition changes your speaking. And the best part? You can do this anywhere, while folding clothes, while watering plants, while waiting for coffee, while walking through a supermarket, while organizing your backpack. Small moments matter. That is how real speakers grow, not with pressure, with repetition. Now let's talk about the bigger question. How do you actually become better at real conversations? Not textbook conversations, not fake robot English, real English. Maybe your thoughts sound like this. I understand, but I can't answer. I forget easy words. I need too much time. I sound strange. I don't know how to continue a conversation. I can say hello and then nothing. If you have said these things before, you are absolutely not alone. And here is something important. These are not signs that you are bad at English. They are signs that you need a better practice method. That's all. Conversation is a skill. Skills grow with training. A person learning piano does not say, "I played badly once, so music is impossible." No, they practice. English works the same way. Today, I will guide you through several simple conversation habits that can help you speak more naturally in daily life. Not complicated systems, not boring study plans. Real things you can actually do. Things that fit normal life. And here is something interesting. Good conversation is not about knowing thousands of words. Sometimes, a person with fewer words speaks better because they know how to use simple phrases confidently. That can be you. Imagine this. You are in a small bookstore. Someone next to you picks up the same book. Instead of silence, you say, "Oh, I almost grabbed that one too." Simple, natural. Or maybe you are waiting while your phone battery charges in a cafe. Someone looks frustrated. You say, "Long day?" Small, but real. Conversation often starts with tiny doors, not giant speeches. That is what we will practice. Simple ways to open those doors. And if this is already helping you feel a little more hopeful, a little less nervous, please give this video a like. That helps this channel reach more learners like you. And if you stay with me, we will build this confidence step by step, because the next ideas may completely change how you practice speaking. Let's keep going. The first simple way to become better at conversation is this. Use ready conversation bridges. What is a bridge? A bridge helps you move from silence into connection. Many learners think conversation means creating original sentences all the time. That is exhausting. Real speakers do not invent every sentence from zero. They use familiar patterns. Small conversation tools. For example, instead of feeling pressure to say something brilliant, you can say, "That reminds me of something. Repeat after me." That reminds me of something. Again. That reminds me of something. Very nice. This phrase helps you continue naturally. Imagine someone says, I tried cooking Korean food yesterday. You do not need a perfect answer. You can say, that reminds me of something. I once tried making dumplings, and it was a disaster. That is conversation. Simple movement. Another bridge. That's a good question. Repeat. That's a good question. Again. That's a good question. Why is this useful? Because sometimes you need time. A few seconds. This phrase gives you breathing space. Imagine someone asks, what do you usually do when you feel stressed? Instead of panic, say, that's a good question. Now your brain has time. That is smart conversation. Not cheating. Smart. Another bridge. I've never thought about that before. Repeat. I've never thought about that before. Excellent. This sounds natural and honest, because real conversation is not a test. You are allowed to think. Imagine someone asks, if you could live in any decade, which one? You can say, I've never thought about that before. Perfectly normal. Let me tell you something important. Confident speakers are not always faster thinkers. Often, they simply know helpful phrases. That changes everything. Try using these in unusual daily moments. At a train station, at a museum, while waiting for a passport photo, at a late-night pharmacy, while picking up dry cleaning. Conversation lives in strange little places, and every time you use one phrase, you grow. Even if your voice shakes a little, even if it feels awkward, that still counts. You are improving more than you realize. Now let's move to the next way. The next simple way is powerful, very powerful. Learn how to keep a conversation alive. Starting is one thing. Continuing is another. Many learners can answer a question, but then silence. Because they stop too soon, conversation is like tossing a ball. You do not just catch it, you send it back. Here is an example. Someone says, I started learning photography. You answer, nice, and stop. Conversation ends. But now look at this. I started learning photography. You say, oh really? What do you like taking photos of? Now the conversation lives. Simple. So your goal is not only answering, your goal is returning the ball. Useful phrases help. For example, how did that happen? Repeat. How did that happen? Again. How did that happen? Very natural. Another one. What was that like? Repeat. What was that like? Excellent. Another. And then what happened? Repeat. And then what happened? Perfect. These are gold. Simple, but powerful. Imagine someone says, my neighbor accidentally locked himself on the balcony. Instead of just laughing, say, how did that happen? Now the story continues. Or someone says, I went to a silent retreat once. Interesting, right? Instead of saying only, wow, say, what was that like? Now real conversation begins. Let's practice a small dialogue. I will say something. Then you respond. Ready? I say, last month I took a pottery class. You say, what was that like? Repeat it. What was that like? Good. Next, I say, I missed my train because I followed the wrong person. You say, how did that happen? Repeat. How did that happen? Nice. Again, I say, I found an old letter inside a second-hand book. You say, and then what happened? Repeat. And then what happened? Excellent. This is real speaking practice. Conversation is curiosity, not perfection. If you become curious, you become easier to talk to. And here is something important. You do not need interesting grammar. You need interest. That is much easier. Try this in your daily life, with coworkers, with classmates, with online language partners, even with yourself while practicing. Ask questions out loud. Build the habit. Your English becomes active this way, little by little. And yes, slow progress is still progress. Keep going. Now, let's continue with another important way. This one changes many learners. Stop trying to sound impressive. Start trying to sound clear. This is a big one. Some learners know a difficult word and feel they must use it, even when a simpler word works better. That creates stress. Conversation is not a competition. Clarity wins. Always. Imagine someone asks, "What kind of movies do you like?" You could search for a difficult answer, or you could simply say, "I like quiet mystery movies. The kind that make you think. Simple, clear, natural. That is good conversation." Or imagine someone asks, "What did you do this weekend?" You do not need a perfect story. You can say, "I visited a place with old maps and strange machines. It was surprisingly fun. Interesting, simple, real." Let's practice speaking clearly. Repeat after me. Let me say that in a simpler way. Repeat. Let me say that in a simpler way. Again. Let me say that in a simpler way. Wonderful. That phrase is powerful, because sometimes you start a sentence and get lost. That happens to everyone. Now you have a rescue phrase. Another one. I'm not sure of the exact word, but... Repeat. I'm not sure of the exact word, but... Excellent. This helps you keep speaking instead of stopping. Let's try examples. I visited I'm not sure of the exact word, but a place where people repair old clocks. That works. Communication works. That is success. Here is another truth. People enjoy talking with relaxed speakers. Not perfect speakers, relaxed speakers. Try conversation in unexpected situations. While asking about a handmade item at a weekend market, while discussing a strange snack flavor, while talking about whether in another city someone visited, while asking someone why they chose a certain notebook. Real conversations are often wonderfully random, and random conversations help fluency, because they are alive. If this episode is helping you, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me which conversation habit feels most useful for you so far. And stay with me until the end, because the final speaking habit may become your most powerful daily tool. One more tiny practice before we continue. Say this with me slowly. I do not need perfect English to have a real conversation. Repeat. I do not need perfect English to have a real conversation. Again. I do not need perfect English to have a real conversation. Good. Really good. That idea matters, because when pressure goes down, speaking goes up. Now we come to what may be the most important conversation habit of all. Not because it is complicated, but because it changes your daily life. Bring English into your real routine in tiny speaking moments. Many learners wait for practice time, a special moment, a perfect moment, a quiet room, more energy, better confidence. But real improvement often comes from something much smaller, tiny speaking moments hidden inside normal life. Because conversation is not only something you do in a lesson, it becomes easier when English starts living around you. So let me show you what I mean. Imagine you are choosing between two jackets. Instead of thinking in your first language, say softly, "This one feels lighter, but that one looks warmer." Repeat after me. This one feels lighter, but that one looks warmer. Again. This one feels lighter, but that one looks warmer. Good. Or maybe you are trying to fix something small at home. A drawer, a lamp, a zipper, and you say, "Why is this harder than it looks?" Repeat, "Why is this harder than it looks?" Again, "Why is this harder than it looks?" Excellent. This is conversation practice. Yes, even alone. Because conversation begins inside your own voice. Now let's make this even more practical. One tiny habit. Change your private thoughts sometimes, not all day. That would feel exhausting. Just small moments. If you are early somewhere, instead of scrolling immediately, describe what you see, quietly, like this. Someone is carrying a giant plant. That dog looks very serious. That person is reading upside down. Strange little observations. Fun, easy, real. Another tiny habit. Leave yourself voice notes. Not perfect recordings. Not formal speeches. Just 1 minute. Maybe while walking. Maybe after lunch. Maybe while waiting for something to load. You say, "Today I had a strange conversation with a delivery driver." Or, "I tried a drink that tasted like cinnamon and oranges." Simple. This helps because speaking becomes normal, not scary. And here is the beautiful part. No one needs to hear it. This is your safe practice space. One more micro habit. Narrate unusual tasks. Maybe you are wrapping a gift, organizing old papers, trying to untangle headphones, packing for a short trip. Say things like, "I have no idea why I kept this receipt," or "This cable is fighting me." Natural language lives in strange moments. That is exactly why it helps. Busy people can do this. Shy people can do this. Tired people can do this. Even 5 tiny minutes matter. That is how English stops feeling like homework and starts feeling alive. Let's keep building this habit. Because this final speaking idea has more layers, small actions, big results. Another tiny habit is this. Talk to content. Not only watch content, many learners watch English videos quietly. That helps listening. But conversation needs response. So, respond. Even if the speaker cannot hear you, imagine a podcast host says, "Would you ever live on a boat?" Pause. Answer. Out loud. "I think maybe for a week, but not longer." That is speaking practice. Or someone in a video says, "My favorite season is autumn." You answer, "Mine is probably spring because I like lighter mornings." This transforms passive learning into active conversation. Now, repeat this useful phrase. "That's not exactly how I see it." Repeat. "That's not exactly how I see it." Again. "That's not exactly how I see it." Very nice. That phrase helps you react naturally. And reactions create conversation. Another tiny habit. Use mini conversation challenges. For example, choose one phrase for the day. Only one. Maybe. Really? Interesting. No way. That makes sense. And use it naturally whenever possible. This trains spontaneous speech. Another micro habit. Practice rescue sentences. Very important, because conversations do not fail because of mistakes. They fail because people freeze. So prepare small rescue lines like, "Give me a second to think." Repeat, "Give me a second to think." Again, "Give me a second to think." Excellent. Or, "I know what I mean, but I need another word." Repeat, "I know what I mean, but I need another word." Perfect. These phrases keep conversations moving. That changes confidence fast. And one more small habit. Join little human moments. Not giant social pressure, tiny moments. Ask one question. Make one comment. React once. Maybe at a bookstore counter. Have many people bought this one? Maybe while waiting during a repair. Does this happen often? Maybe while tasting a sample somewhere? That's unexpected. What's in it? These are not dramatic conversations. And that is the point. Fluency grows through normal moments. Not performance, not perfection, just repetition. One honest interaction at a time. You are building something real. And now, before we finish, let's bring everything together. Today, we talked about something simple, but powerful. Conversation becomes easier when you stop treating English like a school exam and start treating it like part of life. You learned how to use conversation bridges, how to keep the conversation moving, how to choose clarity over pressure, how to create speaking moments inside ordinary life, how tiny habits can change your confidence. And here is the secret sentence I want you to remember. Small, real conversations build a real English voice. Let's say that together. Repeat after me. Small, real conversations build a real English voice. Again. Small, real conversations build a real English voice. Beautiful. Now imagine small changes. Your shopping list in English. Your voice note in English. Your reaction to a video in English. Your private thoughts in English for 2 minutes. Your small question to a stranger. Your comment about something unusual. That is how English becomes part of your identity. Not just something you study, something you use, something you live. And maybe one day, without noticing exactly when it happened, someone starts talking to you in English, and instead of panic, you simply answer, not perfectly, but naturally, and that moment will feel wonderful. Because you will remember this truth. You did not become confident in one giant moment. You built it quietly, day by day, sentence by sentence. At Daily English Whisper, this is exactly what we do. We build calm confidence together. If today's episode helped you, I would love for you to subscribe and continue learning with us. There are many more slow, practical English conversations waiting for you here. And if speaking English has felt difficult for a long time, I want to say something clearly. I am proud of you for being here. Really, learning a language while managing real life takes effort. And you showed up today. That matters. I'm Max. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep being patient with yourself, and I'll see you very soon here on Daily English Whisper.